Hey there, it's Jen, and I am here today to participate in a YouTube video hop, and there's also some bloggers who are going to be doing it as well, I believe. We are sharing our favorite scrappy things for 2014. This video is my favorite scrapbook essentials, and thank you to Irit Landgraf who coordinated this whole thing, and I will post links to all of the other YouTubers who are participating in the information section below the video. I'm going to apologize really quickly for my voice. I have been sick, but I really wanted to get this video done, so I'm doing it anyway, so you have to excuse me. The first thing I want to share with you is my favorite, well, my work surface. So that's what you see here. My table is just a cheap IKEA desk, but on top of it, I have this close to my heart non-stick craft mat. It's like a Teflon sheet, so nothing sticks to it. It's really easy to wipe off. You can get glue or paint or anything on this and you can just wipe it clean. But what I love about this specific mat is that it has, you can see it's shinier on the back. That's because it's got this kind of like rubbery coating on the back, which allows it to stick to your work surface. So I love it because it doesn't move around. This is one that I cut in half. Ranger makes a similar product. It's really similar actually, but the sides roll up when I laid it down, and now even more because I keep it stored rolled up. But one day it rolled up and I accidentally cut through it, and so I cut it in half. But the reason why I replaced it is because I found this one that had the non-stick coat, and this is from Close to My Heart. Again, I'm going to try to link up all of the products that I can in the description on this video, so I'll try to do that for you. But anyway, so the Ranger mat is good, but it doesn't stick to my surface, so that's why I prefer this Close to My Heart splat mat over the Ranger one. And I have seen Nicole Jones just got a Heidi Swap craft mat, and it's really thick, and it's kind of like a teal green color, and it looks really, really nice. So maybe if I ever get sick of or rid of this one, I will upgrade it to that. But this is what I use for my work surface. It always stays on my desk. And then when I am doing something that requires cutting, or if I need a soft surface for stamping, I have this mat, which is also from Close to My Heart. It's a Versa mat. It's smaller. It's just a 12 by 12. But this side is a self-healing mat, cutting mat, and then this side is kind of soft. And so if I need to poke holes for something, like if I'm stitching, or if I need a little cushion under my stamping, I'll use the back of it. So those are the things that I use for my work surface, and I will be right back. Okay, so the next thing I want to share with you is adhesives. And any scrapbooker knows that you can never have too many adhesives, or maybe you can, but you need a variety. And so I'm going to show you all of the different kinds that I use. So first let's look at wet adhesives. These are my two favorite wet adhesives. First we have Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive, which is just a white, comes out white, but it dries clear. It's not a super shiny finish, and it glues paper to paper like that, and I love that about it. So this is a really great adhesive. And then my second liquid adhesive that I use is Glossy Accents, which is it's multi-use, it's multi-purpose. So first of all, it will glue anything to anything. It is really heavy duty. It takes a little bit longer to dry, and it dries to a hard, clear, glossy finish. So this adhesive is also good for making elements pop. So like if you wanted to make your own enamel shape, like if you got a wood shape maybe and put this on top, you could put a coat of this on top of it and it would make it shiny. So it's just a different way to kind of transform embellishments as well. So those are my two favorite liquid adhesives. And then let's get into kind of your everyday adhesive. runners. So this is the adhesive runner that I use frequently. It's American Crafts This to That dot adhesive. I only like the dot adhesive. I don't know if you can see that. You can see the little tiny dots of adhesive. I love this adhesive because I prefer dot adhesive over like a whole strip of like a tape adhesive, because when you're gluing smaller papers or whatever, it doesn't, like when you're going along the edge of something, it'll only stick to the parts that it needs to. So for example, the runner is bigger than this, but the dots only stick where there's paper. So I just really like that about it, if that makes any sense. That wasn't very clear, I apologize. So I use American Crafts This to That adhesive. I can get this adhesive for really super cheap, so that's why I use it. If I had my choice, I would use the Tombow stamp runner. This is also a dot adhesive. It is just really smooth, and it goes, just this particular runner, the adhesive works the same, but this contraption just goes on really smooth. And it also has this feature where you can just lay down one dot of adhesive using this part of the runner. So I don't have any adhesive in here right now, but this is another awesome option. But like I said, I just use the This to That because I can get it for really super cheap. So those are my runner adhesive options. For adhering small embellishments or heavier embellishments, sometimes I use this for wood veneer or for metal pieces. I like glue dots. I prefer the glue dots that come in the roller just because I hate having to deal with the roll of glue dots. They just get everywhere, I feel like, and this is more contained. So I prefer the glue dots on these rollers. And they cost the same, so I figure why not. For a heavy duty adhesive, I really like score tape. I buy mine from Amazon because I feel like I can get a good deal there. I have it in 3 different widths. I have a 1/2 inch, an 1/8 inch, and a 1/4 inch. You can see my 1/4 inch is almost gone. I love this tape, and I mostly use this for when I do a mixed media layout. I will, sometimes the paper buckles a little bit, and so I'll use this tape on the background to glue it to another piece of paper so it lays flat. So I really love score tape. And then lastly, well, I guess not last. Let me first show you. For really small, delicate, intricate embellishments, I like using my Xyron sticker maker. I just have the small one, and you just feed a piece of like your embellishment through there. It works really well on vellum. Let me just show you really quick. We'll do this little die cut. This is February. You just feed it through, and you can stick more than one thing in at once. You pull the tape, and then you just rip it up on the top, and then you rub it. Rub really well around the die cut, and then you peel them apart. And then you have this sticky little mess, but you have a die cut backed completely with adhesive. And you can see this is vellum. The adhesive doesn't show through. So it's really awesome for adhering vellum. So I really like it for that. And also other intricate shapes where it's hard to get glue on. It's nice to use this as well. So that's what I love my Xyron for. And then for dimensional adhesive, I have a few different options that I like. If you've watched my videos, you have seen me use these foam tabs. I have never ever seen them for sale anywhere besides the American Crafts warehouse sale, which only comes once a year, and it's only, you know, local. And anyway, why I love these is because they are fairly thin. They are 1 millimeter thick, which I like. It's a nice thin foam adhesive. If I'm looking for something with a little more dimension, I really like the 3D foam squares from Scrapbook adhesives by 3L. And I like this package because it comes in 2 sizes. And you could always cut these in half. If you're looking for a thin foam adhesive, I know that Stampin' Up! Has a thin, like hexagon shaped, they're called Stampin' Dimensionals, I think, that they sell that's the same thickness. Or I know with the new Chamel line from American Crafts, they came out with a thin foam adhesive as well, I believe. So there's that. These ones are about twice the thickness. These 3L foam squares are about twice the thickness of the ones I get at the American Crafts Warehouse sale. And then these ones from Cool Tack, I love for teeny tiny things. So you can see how small these are. I don't mind cutting these foam squares smaller, but if I have something really tiny like letters that I want to pop up, then these work really well. And they're really, really small. So those are awesome. I haven't used them a ton, you can see, but they come in handy. So those are my favorite adhesives. Speaking of adhesives, this is another thing that I love, and it's an adhesive remover. This is from EK Success. It's the EK Success powder tool, and it has this little brush tip, and I don't know if you can see the powder comes out of the tip. There's like a baby powder type talc in this barrel, and when you brush it on the back of a sticker or something, it takes the adhesive off, which I really love because I'm super indecisive, and so whenever I'm using stickers, I like to take the adhesive off the back so I can move them around the page before committing. So that is a really great tool. Okay, so now let's talk about some of my favorite stamping basic tools. You have to have, well, you don't have to, but it's important to have a clear acrylic block if you're using clear acrylic stamps, which that's what I mainly use. You can have wood mounted stamps, or you can have these clear acrylic stamps, which these are actually not acrylic stamps, photopolymer stamps, sorry. I prefer stamps made in the USA, or other stamps made outside of the USA that are photopolymer, because they give you a nice clean stamped image with your clear stamps. And so I like stamps from Scraptastic, Felicity Jane, and Close to My Heart. You can see I store my stamps in these little Avery L clear pockets, and I can just pull them out like this, and I've got them labeled. And this is just a piece of plain white cardstock in here with them. A lot of people are organizing their stamps this way now. So along with the clear block, I also have a couple of inks that I turn to quite often. I already showed you the Versamark clear sticky ink that I use when embossing, but when I'm not embossing, these are the inks that I use the most. I find myself using gray and black the very, very most, and these are inks, all inks from Close to My Heart. A lot of my inks are Close to My Heart inks. I really like the way they stamp, and I like their colors, and so I have 2 grays, Whisper and Slate. Whisper's a lighter gray, and Slate is a little bit darker. And then I like Archival Black, and this is just a really dark black dye ink, and these are all 3 dye inks, and I really like them. Now when I'm looking for something that's not a dye ink, something that's a pigment ink, that has a little bit more of a vibrant color, I really love these chalk inks by Prima. These are just a few of the ones that I have. I've mostly gotten these from Scraptastic kits, and I've really loved using them. These are some of the favorite colors that I have: Pastel Green, Old Rose, and Old Road, which is a gray color. I prefer pigment ink if I'm stamping on top of like a wood shape, or like I said, if I just want like a more vibrant color. These are more paint-like, and then these ones actually dye and soak into the paper. These ones sit on top. So it kind of just depends on what kind of look you're going for. So those are some of my favorite stamping inks. And then if I'm not stamping, I use inks for other things as well. let me show you some of the other inks that I like. So I love Tim Holtz Distress inks, and I rarely, if ever, use these for stamping. I mostly use them for kind of painting with or getting soft looking backgrounds on my pages. In fact, let me grab one of my pages so I can show you. So this is a page I created using a Felicity Jane kit, and I used this Tattered Rose ink pad to create this kind of watercolory effect on my background. And you can do that a couple of different ways. The way that I did it was the way that I've seen Irit do hers a lot of times, which is where you just grab some packaging from like one of your like scrapbooking embellishment packages. Like, let me see if I can find one. This one's a really small one, but you know, the packages that come with your embellishments in them. You can just smear the ink on it and spritz it with some water and then just press it on your page. Another way you can do it is putting that on your splat mat and spraying it, and you can dip your page into it. I find that I have less control that way, but if I'm doing a whole big background, sometimes I do like to do it that way. So that's the way that I mostly like to use distress ink. The other thing that I love, the other kinds of ink that I love using are spray mists, and 99% of the time I don't actually spray them, I splatter them. And so let me show you an example of that. On this page, Would You Rather, I didn't use this ink, I actually used this Heidi Swap Color Shine. But I just take the top off the ink and then tap it to get the dots. And you can see that in lots of my process videos. A lot of people do that. The two colors that I use most often are the gold Heidi Swap Color Shine and the Studio Calico Mr. Huey's Warm Calico. And that's because this is an almost black color. I did recently get the Heidi Swap Black Color Shine. It does have shine to it though. So if I don't want shine, I'll use this, and if I do want shine, I'll use this. But these are the colors I use most often. And I just love the way a good black or gold splatter looks. So I definitely highly recommend those. Okay, so now let me talk about some of my favorite mixed media tools. This is if I want to create a more artsy kind of scrapbook page. I find myself turning to these tools very, very often. The first thing is baby wipes. I use these with every page I create, whether I'm stamping or doing mixed media or just different things. I actually prefer the Kirkland brand wipes from Costco because they don't get, like some of the wipes are a little soft and they get like your stamps, like it leaves like a fuzz on your stamps or something. So I prefer the Kirkland ones because they don't do that. But I have run out of them, so till I go back to Costco, I just got these. But wipes are essential. And I know Irit uses dried out baby wipes to apply like gesso and stuff like that. So you can use them for that as well. I have my gesso in this is like an old hair product can, and it was in like a squeeze tube, but I find that when I'm using gesso, I don't want to squeeze it on, I want to like scoop it out, and so I just squeezed it all into here. And this is almost gone, so I'll be needing to get a bigger tub of gesso. But I love using gesso to kind of prime my pages before I'm putting down inks or different colors. It's just I like to use a nice wipe. This is just a really cheap one. I think it's Liquitex brand or something like that. So gesso is something that is a staple for me. Another staple for me is modeling paste. Again, I have this Liquitex brand. It is a thick, heavy paste, which you can use for creating texture with stencils on your pages. So let me share with you, excuse me, this is one of my favorite stencils from Simon Says Stamp. It has these stripes on it, and I used this on a scrapbook layout, to create that texture. Let me grab that. Okay, so here's the page where I used that stripe stencil with some modeling paste. I actually mixed some Distress ink. Again, I used this Tattered Rose color. I promise I have other colors. But I mixed it with the modeling paste before putting it on here, so you can change the color of modeling paste, which is really fun. So you can see it just gives a different kind of texture to your layout, so that's kind of really fun to use. So I love modeling paste for that. And my favorite tool to apply the modeling paste with is these plastic spatulas. These all come in a package for like $2 at Michael's or Joann's or any place like that, your local art supply store. I find myself turning to this shape most often. I find that I like to spread it like this rather than like this, and so I find this is the one that I turn to the most. So that is my favorite spatula. Some of the other tools that I use when creating mixed media pages, I just have a cheap set of watercolors. This is a little, like a step up, I guess, from the little paint pots that you can get for super cheap at Walmart or whatever. This is just a Reeves brand. I've had this for quite a long time. You can see they're really messy. I just really like the colors that come in here, but I use those watercolors. And then when I want kind of a little bit of a more opaque kind of watercolor, I'll turn to my gouache. And like I said, gouache is just like kind of a thicker watercolor, so you just squeeze them out of the tube and add a little bit of water and you can get some really pretty colors. And I just, again, this is the Reeves brand. I just got them at Michael's, and they're really great. I love the colors that come in this package. So those are another thing. A lot of the things that I use have to do with watercoloring or creating that kind of effect. And these gelatos are no exception. I have a whole bucket full of gelatos. These are just a couple. But these are like, kind of look like a chapstick or something. And you can just rub them onto your surface, add a little water, and you can do it either directly on the paper or onto another something and put it onto your layouts. I suggest definitely getting a white to mix in with all of the other colors, and they're really awesome. So gelatos are another tool that I use quite often. And then of course with all these kinds of things you need a paintbrush. So I have this one I just got at my local art supply store. It has a nice big round tip. This is great for also creating splatters if you want to dip it in a color and then splat them on your page. I like this for that. I also like this for creating script if I'm going to paint my own title or something like that. And then I also love having a water brush. I've had this one forever. I don't even know where it came from, but you can buy these all over the place. I'll try to link to one below. But basically you just fill up this part with water. This part has the brush, and then you can just squeeze it to get a little bit of the water out. So you don't even have to, like if you were traveling, this would be a great thing because you don't even have to have water. It's just in the brush. So those are my favorite kind of artsy type things to use. So next I want to share with you a bunch of real basic tools that I have to have every time I scrapbook. I just have to. So these are things that I would take with me anywhere I would scrapbook. I mostly scrapbook at home, but if I were going somewhere, I'd definitely take these things with me. Let's talk about pens. So I mostly handwrite my journaling. Occasionally I do use my typewriter, which I also love. That could be included in this video as well, I guess. But there are a few different brands that I like. I use my Close to My Heart, my Legacy writers quite often. These have been discontinued, and I got a bunch for sale when they discontinued them. So I have a ton of these, so I'll be using these for quite a long time. I like these because they come in a variety pack. It goes down to 0.1 for the nib up to 0.8. 0.2 and 0.3 are my favorite sizes, but I really like this pen. Next, I have precision pens from American Crafts. I've been a long-time fan of these pens. They come in black. They come in a bunch of different colors. I really like the black ones, and this brown is a brown that that I like as well. It's hard to find a good color of brown. And I've had this one for a long time and it still works great. These come in a variety of sizes as well. And then, excuse me, gray pens are hard to find. And I know Chamel in her most recent collection just came out with, it's basically an American Crafts Precision pen in gray, which is awesome. I don't have that, but what I did find was this Le Pen by Marvy. I really like it. The color of gray is awesome. You don't get to choose the sizes, at least not at my local store where I got it. I don't like the black pen from Le Pen. It's kind of a purpley black, which I hate, but the gray pen I've really loved and had great success with. So those are the different kinds of pens that I use. Let's move to scissors. So I am a die-hard fan of the Close to My Heart micro tip scissors. They're really sharp. They can get into really small areas. What I really love is they have these Teflon coated scissors. They're black and they don't, like, sticky stuff doesn't stick to it. So with my, like, if I want to cut my, what are these, foam squares, they cut through it no problem. They don't get gummed up or sticky at all, so I have to have these. I love those scissors. So those are my favorite scissors. And Close to My Heart, I believe, only sells in America, or in the United States, Canada, and Australia and New Zealand right now. So if you don't live in one of those places, I'm sorry. Next is my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher. I love this little stapler. It has the cutest little tiny staples that you ever saw in your life. I use it all the time. It's definitely a must-have tool for me, for function and also for like embellishing. So I have to have my tiny attacher. And then I also need to have wax paper. Doesn't matter the brand. I'm not picky on that. Excuse me. What I love about wax paper is being able to put a title down on the wax paper and move it around my page while I'm deciding where I want it to go. I stole this idea, and so have many others, from Mercy Tiara here on YouTube, Tracy Banks, and I love using wax paper for that purpose. So those are my, like, definite must-have essential tools. Okay, so I feel like I kind of gone in a really weird order, so I'm sorry if this could have made more sense and been a little bit better organized, but whatever. I'm going to show you my favorite trimmers now. I have 3 different trimmers. I'm not, like, super in love with any of them, but I like them all, and I like them for different reasons, so let me tell you those reasons now. This is a trimmer that I actually got for free. It's a Martha Stewart trimmer. What I like about this is how compact it can get. It does fold out, and there is an arm that swings out so you can get 12 inches. It cuts pretty precise. I'm not used to having the cutting be on this side of the ruler, and so this has been a little bit hard for me to get used to, but I like its compactness, and so this is something that would be really good for taking to crops and things like that. So that's from Martha Stewart. And then I have 2 Fiskars trimmers. And I think I like this one because it's new and it's really sharp, and it has an arm that swings out as well. It's smaller than this one. The reason I like this one is because it goes clear up to 6 inches, which if you're a card maker, this is really great because you can get you can measure your cards on here and no problem. The bigger base is nice to have. It does have a swing out arm, which is great. It also has a wire that goes right here that you can see where you cut. My wire actually frayed, so I cut it out. This is a problem with this trimmer that I know lots of people have had, and Fiskars is really great to replace the wire. If you just email them and send them a picture, they'll send you a new one. And I've done that before already once with this trimmer. which I do really like this trimmer for that wire because you can see exactly where you're cutting, but like I said, it frays, and so that's kind of obnoxious. But I'm really used to it, and so this cutter works well for me because I'm really used to it. But so those are my trimmers. Like I said, I'm not super sold on any of them, and I'll be watching the rest of these videos to see what other people use and why they love it. Because, like I said, none of these are really my favorite. So, okay, this might seem like a strange thing to talk about, but I want to talk about my favorite sheet protectors. I have had problems with sheet protectors in the past in my albums being really flimsy, and I hate that, especially when my pages have dimension. They get really roughed up and they can get ripped easily. These are the American Crafts sheet protectors, and these are the ones that I don't love. They're really thin. I mean, they're okay. They're just not my favorite. And these are the ones that I've had problems with in the past. I feel like I'm doing a close to my heart ad on this video, but I promise I'm not. I really love their sheet protectors. They are really thick. They're sturdy. They're a little bit more expensive, but I feel like it's worth it. I have transferred most of my pages into these page protectors because I just really like them better. So that's all I have to say about that, I guess. They also have like divided page protectors too that are in this same kind of formula where it's really thick and really nice. I don't know if you can tell the difference in them just from me holding them, but they're, I don't know. One's really thin and one's not. So I would encourage you to try these out if you've been unhappy with the weight of your sheet protectors. Okay, last but definitely not least, this is definitely an essential for me, my Canon selfie. I have the CP900. They have a newer model that's the CP910. I love this printer. It makes my scrapbooking go so much faster. I scrapbook more because I have this tool. It's so easy because I take a lot of pictures with my phone now, and I can just, it's got Wi-Fi built into it, so I can just use the app that's on my phone to print directly to this little printer. And I really love it, so I highly recommend it. It does print a little bit darker than the photo appears on my phone, which that bothers me slightly, but I can correct that and overexpose it. I can edit it on my phone before I print it if I want to. But my main thing about this is that it gets me scrapbooking more because I can easily print out any photo just at the drop of a hat. So I really love this machine. That is the last thing that I'm going to share with you for my scrapbooking essentials video. I'm sure I forgot some stuff maybe, but these are the things that I have and use on almost every page. I absolutely love them. I haven't gone into detail about any of my embellishments or anything like that. I'm going to save that for the other video. But I hope you've enjoyed, and again, all of the participants are linked below the video, so be sure to check them out. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.